Colombia is among the most vibrant, complex countries. It's dangerous here, but crazy. It's a lot of fun. And once you find yourself here, for some reason you want to come back and even stay here to live.
We're chasing the robbers.
I really feel like I'm in a movie. Huge lost war begins.
Colombia is one of the world's leading drug suppliers, and almost every flight out of the country carries contraband. This time at the airport, the police were looking for something right inside my body.
It's a poor drug banana republic. You know Pablo Escobar's brother personally, right? And I even worked for him. And I had a kilogram of drugs in my luggage. While I was sitting in prison, I came to the conclusion that I don't want to go back to Russia.
The streets of Colombia are even scarier than prison.
Colombia might be a little more dangerous than Russia.
А сколько нужно колумбийцев, чтобы одного дагестанца играть?
Вот этих четверых один даг бы точно раскидал. Здесь 9-миллиметровый ствол может быть у какого-нибудь гопника 14-летнего.
Also, Colombia is a country of love and freedom. Often it's for this reason that newcomers choose to stay here.
I'm already kind of Latino, so for me, white girls are exotic. Well, either I'm gonna strangle her right now, or she's just gonna take me down and that's it. For a family, it's not a tragedy if they have, for example, a gay child.
Coming up is the ATA release, about how drastically you can change your life, turn it upside down, and not be bored for a single minute. Subscribe to my YouTube and Instagram, and let's go. From our end of the world, Colombia doesn't seem that big on the map, but that's not really the case. Moreover, the regions of the country are very different from each other. I'm flying from Medellin to Barranquilla. It's raining and cool weather during takeoff because the region is mountainous. And upon arrival, it's hot and feels like a real Caribbean summer.
Wow, it's so hot here. About 15 degrees, warmer, even though we flew for about 40 minutes, and it smells like the sea.
This is what the bus looks like that's taking me from the airport. Actually, we're heading in the opposite direction from the city, and I jumped out somewhere in the steppe. In a second, I caught the first random motorcyclist, and he's taking me somewhere almost for free. A quick update on the situation on the road. Cool trucks, guys riding around on horses with carts, and this is the essence of a nation that doesn't like rules. A sign prohibiting tuk-tuks, but they all keep driving by. Only on them. On the roadside, they're cooking food over fires and there's trash everywhere. It looks like they've never cleaned these roadsides at all, but everywhere they're selling something. Mostly in crooked tents or on carts. There's definitely content all around here, but I need to get to another city. I'm heading to Santa Marta along a very long and narrow sandbar. On both sides there's water, and you can only survive here by fishing. And the fishing villages that I come across on the way, it's just a kingdom and of poverty. But it's on the Caribbean Sea. Santa Marta is already a resort. At the bus stop, there's a sign for Los Angeles, but to be honest, it doesn't quite measure up. On the hills that really look like California, there are cacti and trash. From big business, we have window washing at the traffic light. There's absolutely nothing in terms of road safety. The whole family is racing on this moped, including a baby. The city center is really cool. The colorful houses and colonial architecture create a cool Caribbean vibe. There's a hotel called Colonial here. Apparently, no one here is shy about the status of being a former colony. All the vendors here use carts. The fruits and juices are super cheap, but they're really tasty and fresh. This barrel has 100% pineapple juice. They cut it right in front of me, and it costs less than $1.
I didn't ask for anything, and he poured half a glass.
This is Andre. He has been living in Colombia for 6 years and has gotten used to the exotic nature. He didn't pay any attention to the squirrel that ran past us, but he stopped next to the iguana.
They are mostly pretty slow, but sometimes something attacks them. Someone might have scared her, and she's just running without even knowing where she's going. Really fast. Yeah, she runs really fast and might confuse you for a tree and jump at you.
If our grandmas feed the cats in the yards, Colombian grandmas don't let iguanas go hungry. About kindness. One of those ladies had this note in the newspaper.
And this lady, she sells coffee here. in the park. And here she is showing a photo, and she's actually eating from her hand.
It didn't take even half an hour before someone got robbed right next to us.
I don't know. They're probably catching the thief. A thief? Most likely, I don't know, but something is happening. Everyone just rushed off. Even the kids, they took all the kids away and everyone is running somewhere.
Все бегут, бежим и мы.
Мы бежим за грабителями. Да, несемся.
The guys vanished quickly. Notice how fast everything is. No one is there. Twilight has started and there's no one left. Everyone has run away. But they ran over there. And over there, because there are 2 more blocks, that's where Zombieland really starts. It's scary there.
There are many dangerous areas in Colombia, and even after years of living here, Andre sometimes gets into trouble.
I'm just that kind of person. I'm always drawn to adventures. In the past, of course, I took some security measures. Well, right now, too. So, if I'm going into a really bad area, I know for sure that I'm not going to do anything there. Photos, of course, I leave the equipment at home. The iPhone is still an attractive thing.
Recently, he was attacked again.
In these 5 years, this was already the 4th attempted robbery. It happened here in Santa Marta. This time there were 4 of them, not 2 like usual. And 2 of them had knives. I fought back really hard, but I didn't want to fight them. I just wanted to get away and run. Here, and they are here too. They're not exactly professional robbers. They're just teenagers, thugs. They just surrounded me. In the end, at the same time, 2 of them are waving knives like this near my ribs. And still I still don't want to give up this iPhone, my hand's in my pocket with my other hand on top, but they just flattened me out and pulled everything out. I had to fly out that night, so I had everything with me. There were documents, money, earpods, and mine hadn't been removed for a long time either. Yes, they come off with just 1 click, and before that, there were cases. They were always submitted. And in the first 3 attempts of these clumsy robberies, it always ended with them running away from me, already dropping their flip-flops, because I had this Russian tough guy vibe kicking in. It's not like what I remember from my time in Moscow. There are guys from the Caucasus, you know? In Dagestan, for example, since childhood, your dad took you for a walk. You were 3 years old. All right, go on, fight with the neighbor. How many Colombians does it take to play 1 Dagestani? Oh, I don't know. The creator. I think that out of these 4, 1 Dagestani would definitely take them down. If we, for example, look at the official statistics, which many rely on to check safety, this is the murder rate. Here, of course, it's much higher than in Russia. In Russia, it's 8 people per 100,000 population. 8 murders. Here, it's 25 murders per 100,000 population. It's not hard to get a gun here. If in Russia, firearms, serious ones, are only available to security forces and smoothbore weapons are available to hunters, here, 20-meter barrel. Maybe some 14-year-old Gopnik has one. No one is going to kill you over a phone, that's for sure. They can show you the gun. What sets Colombia apart from Russia in a positive way? No one is just going to beat you up for walking into the wrong neighborhood. It's unimaginable here. If you don't have anything interesting for them to take from you, you're basically invincible. Go anywhere, they'll even be curious about it. They'll even say, "Oh, gringo, how did you end up here? Are you lost?" They might even treat you saying, "Oh, come sit down, have a beer. We've never had a gringo in our lives. We haven't seen anything like that in our area."
In troubled neighborhoods, they always constantly keep a watchful eye on strangers and the police.
At every intersection, there's a kid or 2 watching to see if the police officers are coming. If there is, he starts shouting, "Manolo, Manolo, Manolo!"
Andre was even trying on the uniform of a Colombian police officer. And this is considering that he started his Colombian life by serving a real prison sentence.
I had to spend the first year behind bars. So I got released in May 2018 after serving 1 year and 8 days in prison. So I came here and almost immediately ended up in prison. How did that happen? Yeah, almost right away in May 2017.
Когда я улетал отсюда, у меня в багаже был килограмм кокаина.
And how did you end up there? Well, yeah, it was just by chance. I just happened to put it there. Here, the numbers are just really simple. When you can sell something that costs 50 somewhere, when it costs here 2, guys, there are 25 of them for just 1 kilogram. And what if there are 3 or 5 of them?
That was already the 3rd trip, Andre.
I successfully made 2 trips. I worked for myself, I bought it, took it and sold it there. So I was buying it I took it somewhere and sold it there. And what they told me right away when they caught me, they immediately told me, Russian, calm down. First of all, they say, this is a kilogram. We have a kilogram here. This is for personal use. They won't give you much. Then they say, well, you're a foreigner. They won't put you in a bad prison. In short, don't worry. They say, understand, we are not children either. We have been working here at this airport for years, and we understand perfectly well that every international flight, any plane that leaves Colombia, well, at least a little kilogram, that's for sure. I said, yeah, guys, it's better that I got caught here than somewhere in Europe. There, they would throw you in for 20 years.
In Colombian prisons, inmates are left to their own devices. They move around freely, play billiards, cook food over campfires, and here they are butchering a whole carcass. Sometimes freedom leads to wars for control over territory. The attacking gang breaks through the wall with weapons in hand. It infiltrates the competitors. There's already a wall built up here for the next time. During one of these attacks, Andrei was shot. Only at such moments does the Oman intervene, throwing smoke grenades at the inmates. Andrei still has a scar on his forehead from that hit. Moreover, any banned goods can get into the zone, and when there was money, Andrei didn't get bored.
If you definitely have it, there's rum.
On top of everything, Andrei was released early.
Yeah, and my son is in a Russian prison. For 20 grams of powder, the guy was sentenced to 7 years. But 7 years, guys, for 20 grams, it's just disproportionate. It's unbelievable. Here, they gave 2 years for a kilogram, but...
Поскольку статья эта не связанная с насилием, 3/4 срока отсиживаешь и автоматом на УДО.
While I was sitting in prison, I came to the conclusion that I did not want to return to Russia. That is, I thought, holy cow, if these people who are sitting here are criminals, if they are such sweethearts, that's it. In general, well, they are just good-natured people. There's none of that, prison jokes like what chair would you sit on or what would you do there? There's really no concept here of humiliating or insulting someone for no reason.
There are homeless people on the streets of Colombia.
Many homeless people were born on the street, and their parents also lived there. They can't even imagine that life could be any different.
When Andrei got out of prison, he also found himself on the street with nothing.
It was just terrible. It was a tough moment. This is actually my first year of freedom. I still don't have any job. I volunteer at the hostel just to get a bed to sleep in. I'm walking. A homeless beggar follows me down the street and says, give me some coins. I say, man, no coins, go on. And sometimes this happens. He just starts to follow me. He got me a little heated up. I just turn around and say to him a little rudely, man, I say, yes, I myself, damn, haven't eaten for a couple of days. And my friend goes, why didn't you say that right away? He pulls out a little pack with 3 or 4 bills in it. He had like a little bit of money for food. Damn, guys, I almost cried, honestly. I was so touched by this human concern that a person who himself has nothing, no, he can share the little he has.
Now Andrei also lives behind bars, but in a nice building with security that protects him and the other residents.
This is a 4-room apartment. By our local Colombian standards, this is even called a penthouse. You can park your car under these awnings. Here, neither the sun will warm him nor will hail beat him. There's a pool and there's a jacuzzi. What a great grill. Just awesome, I think, big. And here are 2 of these. The rooms are like 2 sheds where you can put tables here. Here, and please invite your friends, have fun. Such sweet deals for tourists who come for a short time. Don't go to them because the locals are the ones who seek them out.
Andrei is renting a room from this woman named Teresa, who is admiring her beautiful country. It's hard for her to breathe, and those are her oxygen tanks.
So, we have 5 people living here. 4 of us are guests. And the lady Teresa herself lives with us. So you 4, how much do you pay? $50 for each room? So that makes it $600 for the apartment.
In Andrei's room, there's a beautiful collection of cool caps and a great view of the sea and the Hilton Hotel.
It's just a real gift, honestly. When you wake up in the morning, you step outside and you just want to say, what a beauty. At first, what I didn't like about Santa Marta was the port. It has such a purely urban look, of course, such constructivism, powerful. And then I got used to it. And I even like it because it's here, you can look at some beautiful cruise ships. So, when I see a nice liner come in, I immediately run to the bar and to the beach because I know that beautiful American girls will be coming. So you can chat. Well, since I'm already like a Latino, I've been living here. So for me, white girls are exotic. Already the dark-skinned girls, they've all become familiar.
In the evening, not just Andre, but all the other Colombians head to the waterfront. Basically like this, just with a speaker beer and women.
This is some salsa, Dad. Whoa, whoa, these are my cuties.
Oh, look at her very pink, shiny dress. Oh my God, no, really, wow, unbelievable.
According to Andre, relationships with Colombian women are more selfless and based on passion.
Of course, the women, guys, are beautiful, loving. They are more on equal terms. They don't force it. You play this game, chase me. So why should I have to chase? Don't you want the same thing I do? Of course. A girl wants the same thing. A boy does. Sometimes we meet at the club and we want to spend the night together, but it's better to part ways by tomorrow. And in general, never see each other again. And that's how Colombian women are. That's how we were raised in Russia. I really love. This is gentlemanly behavior, to come with flowers, to be a caballero, a true gentleman. I love to court beautifully. But guys, when it's presented as something you absolutely have to do, and with anyone,
Andre insists that there are indeed a lot of decent girls in Colombia.
there's this opinion again that the girls here are only after money, that half of them are basically night butterflies, and they'll do anything for cash. Horrible. Yeah. But this does have some basis, of course. But mostly, guys, if you're a tourist and you're only here for a short time, you're not really looking for a girl to marry. You just need to quickly go to a nightclub and you'll find all that there. And from this, the stereotype is born, but it's actually not that simple. That you need to know where to go. If you go to the library, you're unlikely to find anything there. That's my bad recommendation. Do you want to find a good Colombian woman? Is there such an event? The cycles, Mike, block the main streets of the city, and everyone who has a bike, rollerblades, hands, legs, because you can just walk, take your dog out, and it's just a beauty parade. Everyone is fit, all the handsome guys and beautiful girls, and it's just nice to look at. And there you can meet a girl from a good family who has never in her life not only tried it, but she hasn't even seen how and doesn't know where to get it.
This is us on the Santa Marta waterfront. We were mistaken for Brazilians.
I most often get mistaken for a Brazilian, an unclear accent, tall height, and big ears. For them, these are signs of Brazilians. I'm dark-skinned. I have an atypical appearance for a Russian or a Russian man.
We're also being lured in by the vendors. Here they have juices, fake gold, and flatbreads that are cooked on banana leaves so they don't burn.
What a nice little dog.
Andre is quite literally the guy here. He greets someone every 2 minutes.
Is this your buddy? Yeah. What are we doing here? Know everyone.
Disco buses drive around the resort, increasing the level of fun. Inside them strictly depends on how much they've drunk. Here the passengers are sad, but over there, they're already drunk.
Very often I see someone on Facebook who says, damn, I've already looked at everything. Recommend me a damn series or a movie. I'm just thinking, yeah, I totally get it. I forgot the last time I even turned on YouTube. Guys, it's just that everything in Colombia is so colorful. You feel like you're in a series. Honestly, I really feel like I'm in a movie. Опа! Это наш друган.
Правда, друган напугал ребенка.
Aren't you planning to marry a Colombian woman? Marry a Colombian woman. It's like marrying into a Latin soap opera. There will be a lot of drama. There will be a lot of salsa. Emotions. If someone is chasing after emotions, honestly, marry a Colombian woman. There won't be any boredom. In general, watching series just becomes uninteresting because when you watch a show on your computer or on TV, it's all two-dimensional, it's just a screen. And when you arrive in Colombia, guys, buying a ticket to Colombia means buying a ticket to a soap opera. Moreover, they are very skilled at using these emotions. They understand that if someone yells at you every day, that's it, you're done. All your resources will be drained, you'll get scared and run away. They rock you. The scenario could be like this. In the morning, she's just like a geisha. She's there licking your toes, making you feel good everywhere. You just melt, thinking, I'm in paradise. Half an hour goes by and she says, what's that you're doing? Who's that messaging you? And who is that over there? Did you write a message? And who is that messaging you? You like something on Facebook, and then the heat starts with furniture flying around. It can really escalate.
Until the right woman eventually came along, I had a girlfriend.
A little over a year ago, I was dating a girl named Juliana. I always called her Ulya, and it always made me laugh. I immediately warned her when I saw that we were in a relationship and starting to live together, playing the dear game, but we'll be together until there's fog. Well, if you hurt me, I'll leave. I remember one of our first passionate nights there. We even specifically booked a motel, so Juliana and I are going there to relax. And usually such a classic missionary position, in general, no-op does not bode well. And she says, soul me. I mumbled something like, you know, my girl, I've never strangled anyone, you see. I've heard that it happens something like 2 slaps, bam and bam, I get strangled, said the creature. Well, either I'll strangle her now or she'll just knock me down. And I had to learn how to tie and untie everything. It's easier to tie her up, right? Because once you tie her up, she can just lie there and rest while I go get some coffee.
Andrei spent most of his time in the city of Medellin, the hometown of Escobar.
Honestly, I miss Medellin, especially in that sense, more than anywhere else in Colombia. It's known that the girls from Medellin are the most beautiful and the most affectionate. Fact! In Medellin, for example, I have a joke that is only partly a joke. That if I didn't fall in love at least 3 times a day, that means I was just sitting at home for some reason because I'm walking through Medellin, but there, guys, there it's like giving you a heart attack. I can see goddesses walking around. Here, well, at best, once a day I see something that I want to wear. Sunglasses so I don't fry my eyes.
By the way, about the sweet Colombian city of Medellin and its sins. There's already a video on my channel. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
I will not tear the punishment, Mercedes says. He died.
In Latin America, you come across fruits that I've never seen before.
Local Latin fruit. This, by the way, really helped the Cubans because it's very cheap and grows very easily like a weed. Weed! He isn't afraid of insects. It looks like a potato. That's quite biased.
Yeah?
Looks like pumpkin. Toftu. Inside he's like a pumpkin, fibrous and orange. And he has a cool milkshake.
It's hard to tell if it's a vegetable or fruit.
It feels like a tomato too.
And it has exactly the same thinness.
Inside there's something similar in structure. And the seeds are also organized. So it's a nightshade. It's a nightshade called tree tomato. It's much sweeter. It's like a very, very tasty Crimean tomato, but with sugar.
They also sell lollipops everywhere.
Everyone chupa chups. Can you imagine? There's this thing, even in the slammer. It was kind of like currency, basically. Well, it's not expensive, but for 4 chupa chups, you could trade for 1 joint of weed.
On the main party street of Santa Marta, there are crowds of people and a lot of police. And Andre met his friend again. I rented an apartment right in the city center on Party Street. The entrance is right from the park.
The owners are doing pretty well. Look, a new refrigerator. Not cheap.
We still haven't saved up for a proper shower though.
I have laundry going. Any opportunity for laundry is used.
There are bars on the windows even on the 2nd floor.
I asked to lock all the locks that are there. A wooden thing. A lattice on such a castle made of wasps. and there is another door.
And we also need to lock up near the house. There's only a pharmacy, but it has pretty much everything.
I see the pharmacy, but it's mostly a fridge with beer, and even guys...
The thing is that the local pharmaceutical industry is Colombian. It has already reached such heights that we have here a cure for everything. Here is a cure for sadness, beer, rum, whiskey. We have it all. So first you get drunk, kill the sadness, then you wash it down with water, and then you have these electrolytes. These are drinks that restore the salt balance. Well, there are cookies, candies, what else? Everything, and of course hygiene products, medicines, everything you would find in any normal pharmacy is also available.
I ate with tongs.
Right after that, fantasies can come in handy.
Andre lived in a hostel for a long time.
Call? It's great.
In the common area of the hostel, there's a bar and a pool. Most of the guests here are foreigners, so the prices aren't low. Pizza and cocktails are $5-6.
Oh my, and there are European ladies in the pool. Oh, beautiful people. But despite the status of the hostel, it's so nice here. It's really already a restaurant. Yes, it's a restaurant in the Czech Republic. Are the guests a restaurant? Strong drinks, snacks. I lived here for a couple of months and we woke up a person. No, they are not playing now. So now you can make noise after 10. Of course, the music is turned off by both Albat Aigadalia by us and... Well, but I'm upstairs. But now Andre actually has gay friends. You know, he lived next door to one of them for a long time. I mean, I like the ambience in the hostel, that there are always new acquaintances, Europeans, travelers, and basically there is something to talk about and tell and ask, listen, and one B appears there, and we have such. In fact, there is entertainment called pub hrao. That's when the whole hostel gets organized and goes out as a group to bars and clubs. That's where I met this Javier. Javier and I became inseparable friends. He likes boys and I like girls. We have no competition at all. It's just friendship and very good relations. He's from a good, wealthy Chilean family, but not to the point where they really push it. I heard that in Europe, it seems like they already, at school, a child should hear about such matters. There's none of that here, and there won't be for some time, because there are very strong Catholics here. They control everything. And the best colleges that parents want to send their children to are Catholic colleges. Of course, there can't be any LGBT there. How many times I've been with my tour groups. We're going to a nightclub, not all the time, but half the time we go when the group wants to check out the nightlife. And every time they ask me, are we going to a gay club? I tell them, guys, just because you saw a couple of guys kissing on the dance floor, it doesn't mean it's a gay club. There are just so many of them here. Not only does society have a tolerant attitude towards gays, but gays are also tolerant towards society. For the family, it's not a tragedy if, for example, their child is gay. So they are absolutely fine with it. For them, it's not even a factor or a topic for discussion. Well, whether you're gay or not, it doesn't matter to us.
Guys sometimes hit on Andre too.
There were such cases, well, I don't know, in Russia I might have felt really awkward, but here, well, I don't feel like a victim. There were such cases that we were there somewhere in a club. I was standing near the bar counter. A man my age came up. And he says, well, can I treat you to a drink? Well, it's pretty obvious that he's hitting on me. So how are you? When we approach any girl there, it all starts at the bar with drinks. I'm such a man, I say right away, sorry. I say, I'm here for the girls. So he's like, oh man, what a shame. So it's just very polite. Not once has anyone come up to me there.
Схватил меня за жопу и сказал, о, какой ты классный.
Despite the external mess, destruction, and dangers, Andre certainly has a lot of respect for the locals and their way of life.
Honestly, guys, the upbringing of Colombians, I really like it. They really value their attitude towards life. They appreciate everything they have. And, well, look, it's clean and nice. I've never seen such destruction, especially in apartment buildings. Honestly, I've never encountered that in Colombia. Yes, there are the poor areas, those favelas which are up there on the hill. So they're stuck together, built out of construction debris, roughly speaking. I believe Colombians have discovered the recipe for simple human happiness. Of course, it helps them a lot. The weather, guys, but the sun is what recharges our batteries. And Colombians, yes, they love it. They cultivate their positivity within themselves.
In Latin America, Andre indeed believes that Colombians are the kindest and sweetest people.
Strangely enough, especially for those who have seen Scarface, it's really strange news that Colombians are sweethearts, guys. They are really very gentle. Maybe they were once so fierce and bold. Maybe. But now nothing reminds of that anymore.
How do Colombians, generally speaking, feel about Mexicans and Brazilians who they are afraid of? Colombians are afraid of someone.
Colombians themselves are well aware of this. They don't shy away from it. If you ask them, what do you think about it? They say that the most daring are probably the Mexicans and Brazilians. And we say, no, what are you talking about? And if you ask a Brazilian what they think about Colombians, they'll say, oh, they're nice guys.
Locals have a more relaxed attitude towards money than we do.
Colombians are so chill, they have a different vibe. I ate. That's already good. If there's music, wow, that's it. A celebration, really. And there's a celebration every day. It's like a national idea. All of this that you see, the shops are open, the hair salons, all kinds of services, people are going to work and doing their tasks. They do all of this, well, first of all, just to have a place to get a haircut and look good. But overall, the idea is to earn some money during the week. And when the weekend comes, it's time to have a blast. That's it. That's the national idea.
Here people work hard all their lives and then die without even having time. To light up at least once?
That's the idea that people believe in. And the idea is that being happy is shameful and bad. That's what's terrible. We actually learned this in the Soviet Union. I understand that these people are not wealthy, but they are happy nonetheless. They replaced this concept that if you are not rich, you cannot be happy, with the eternal values are first and foremost family. They have very kind relationships, and this is what I'm soaking up here in Santa Marta. I like it, just look around. Parents, their children, parents, their children.
In the old Colombian houses, there's a special Caribbean spirit.
Well, it looks like Cuba. It looks like it. I mean, this is an old building. The paint is all peeling off here. I especially like this. It's like a tiled advertisement.
Pepsi?
So, what is this? This is basically a residential building. A family lives there, but they have a little shop on the corner. So there's this little shop here. It's cool. It's also that kind of dilapidation. It has a quite authentic feel in its own unique and special way, and it's undeniably charming, but it's very cute. And look, the door is also wooden, carved, a nice door. And here is where the living area starts. By the way, the lady, she's using this old Singer sewing machine. And she usually sits and sews in the evenings. And there's also a backyard. And there are these old rocking chairs. You can really feel the family vibe. Relaxed. Right now you're going through a certain phase that intertwines with the local philosophy. Honestly, this isn't the first time in my life that I've hit a financial pit. Everyone has problems from time to time. So here it is. So I've had problems like this before, where I'm sitting without money, without a job, and I don't know what to do. And before, I always felt sad about this in my past life in Russia, which was often filled with challenges and hardships. Last year, I had a significant amount of money, well, by my standards. So I was spending about $3,000 a month. By Colombian standards, is just, you could say, I was blowing whole fortunes. So I was spending for a whole year. I got used to a luxurious life. And then you had this drop. And I even had a situation where I rented this little room for $150. I moved in there. And for 3 days, I didn't have a single penny. Not even enough to buy myself a tiny roll. I was just drinking tap water. Well, I was also fasting. So, in that very crisis moment, I caught myself thinking, dude, you're not even stressing out at that very moment. Indeed. The Colombian spirit has gotten into me.
Despite his truly Colombian spirit, Andre certainly doesn't get deeply involved in any such illegal Colombian activities. After prison, such activities.
In the preventive case of Sonic, the whole drug business is primitive. The only danger for us is getting caught by the authorities. And plus, it's still not a waste. I'm not an anti-drug guy. I'm for limited legalization and more for legalization. Let's take the Netherlands, guys. It's such an old example, right? They've had legalization for many years. And the Netherlands is one of the most developed European countries. Because when you give people education, the opportunity to live interestingly, the chance to earn and contribute to society, maybe on the weekend at the club, pop a pill. This person would want to, but letting your life go down the drain, excuse me, because of those damn drugs, well, there's really no desire for that.
Andre has seen quite a few people who let their lives go off the rails in prison, but many of them have truly rethought their lives.
Of course, there's a real mafia there, and of course, there's a lookout. And there's an order in the prison, guys. We're already behind bars as it is. We don't need any extra stress. If you think about yelling at a friend or, God forbid, start fighting, both of you will end up spending the night outside naked. For about 3 to 4 days, stand under icy water for a couple of hours.
In prison, debtors are usually punished severely.
In the first week, if you don't bring in the debt, the first punishment, well, from about 300 squats. One of us was forced to do 1,000.
Andre also had to do squats.
There was a little conflict with a local guy who sells weed. Well, he's definitely under the control of the mafia. He went and complained, and I was forced to do 300 squats. You can do 300 squats. The guy who did 1,000, he couldn't walk for a couple of days afterward.
But overall, life in prison is somewhat similar to life in the slums. There's even work here. Mostly they make things by hand.
You can buy anything in prison, even beer, rum. I won't even mention that they smoke weed. It's everywhere. They just walk around with a joint in their mouth, around the clock. And on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, those are visiting days. When the women come, everyone heads to the skimmer for sex. Everything is fun. Ooh, Colombian.
Not all prisons are like this, but Andre ended up in a very easy one.
Exclusively friendly relationships with everyone. In prison, music plays all day long. The doors in the cells are never closed. There are no locks, just go wherever you want.
It's like a big pioneer camp.
They feed you 3 times a day, free from the government. And there's also a grocery store on the premises. There are 2 kitchens. So, buy groceries, go cook if you don't like it or if it's not enough. Honestly, I even felt really hurt for my homeland. I was lying in the hospital with my daughter in Moscow, the capital of Russia. A huge thank you to the medical staff. Russian medical staff, that's definitely a high level. But the food, guys, why do you dislike us so much? Well, for what? I mean, the food is disgusting. Cutlets made from sawdust and a compote that smells like rags. And here there was such food. First course, second course. Secondly, it is always either meat or chicken or fish with a side dish. I mean, you know, I was like, honestly, guys, this is such a punishment.
Particularly enterprising prisoners set up interesting businesses in prison.
And so, a British citizen went to Bolivia, bought 5 kilograms of cocaine, and was caught at the exit in the city of La Paz. He was caught, sent to prison, and sentenced to 18 years. And this enterprising citizen, out of boredom, apparently, he started organized tours there. A convicted criminal will not be released onto the street for a walk, but to let someone from the street on an excursion. Yes, please. Andre brought up to 70 people a day after his prison term. It was difficult to start a new life. When I got out of prison, I had nothing left at all. I come out and I don't have a single penny. My boss tells me to take a little money to get by for the first few days, to settle into a hostel or something. The prison boss gave me some money, but I had no means of communication. And the prison guards, these they gave me as a gift. There was one little smartphone among the confiscated items. I was so happy, I thought, wow, what nice people, everyone.
Andre decided to stay and become a guide.
Little by little, yes, I began to develop in this direction, and thank God it went well. Then, somehow, travel agencies from Kiev and Moscow, which work exclusively with VIP contingent, found me, and I occupied this niche. Then Aurelie Reshka came to us, and I worked with them. I show people my favorite spots. We communicate well, I tell stories beautifully, and they listen with interest, so it's a good exchange. In the end, I get paid quite well. You know Pablo Escobar's brother personally, right? Yes, I know him personally and even worked for him. His name is Roberto de Jesus Escobar Gaviria. He is the biological and older brother. Pablo Escobar had a big family. There were 7 children.
De aquí exactamente, sí, don Roberto. Eso, muy lindo. Muchas gracias.
This is Andre with Roberto Escobar, who leaves an autograph and even his fingerprint and signature.
Yes, Roberto served 15 years, and it was really tough for him because he had already served a year by the time Pablo died. And 16 days later, on December 18th, they send our Roberto a package with a bomb inside. He was called by the prison administration. I told you about the package. They locked him in a separate room, but that's just the procedure. That's the protocol. He started to open it, and he realized there was a bomb inside, so he threw it into the corner, fell to the floor himself, and that's when the explosion happened. That saved his life, but that bomb almost took away his sight. However, he served his time and was released. And so, to create some source of income, he opened a museum, Roberto Escobar's House Museum, and there he tells everything about the cartel. So, you can ask him some questions.
Andre worked there for a long time.
And in the first years, as a Russian guide in Colombia, I always brought my Russian and Russian-speaking tourists to that museum too. And when the special operation started, I got stressed out and I thought, oh no, tourists won't come to me, will they? And I had this thing. I had most of my tourists from Ukraine and 30% from Russia. I get a call from the museum. Roberto's wife Claudia calls me and says, Andre, why are you stressing out? You speak Spanish, right? You speak English, you're a guide, so come work with us at the museum. And that's it. The next day I went back to work. It was worth it because after the shift, after 6, it happened more than once that Roberto and I would sit down, crack open a beer. He drinks a little, but he loves beer. And he starts telling stories that nobody knows at all.
Я его всегда подкалывал, я говорю, Дон Роберто, говорю, я копать вот обожаю, и лопата, говорю, у меня, ох, есть, ты скажи где?
How does he feel, let's say, about the series Narcos? Did they twist the facts or not?
They twisted the facts. No, they twisted the facts. He says, this is a thing, yes, for Colombia, it brought a flow of tourism, yes. But he says, guys, I still stand for historical accuracy and justice. Well, and of course, Roberto might have felt a bit jealous that he himself wasn't very much involved. They show a lot there. Even though I did a crime, but I'm very much against the Mafia. You know, the reason I like Pablo Escobar, despite the fact that he was a bloody terrorist and all that sort of thing, Pablo Escobar never robbed the poor. On the contrary, he sold drugs to rich people who could afford to buy them. And he shared with the poor. What does the Russian Mafia do? They fleece everyone they can reach.
The main business of the Mafia in Colombia is drug trafficking, but it's not just that.
They're trying to rob banks. I haven't heard about a single one of those. A successful robbery in the last few years. When I was in prison in Rio Negro, which is near Medellin, I was sitting there in prison and I was in a cell with robbers. It was them who tried to rob the bank and they themselves were former cops. Well, one day they decided to rob a bank. Cops. So one day they decided to rob a bank. It's really tough here. Right now, the police are everywhere. They're very mobile. Everyone has motorcycles, a driver and a shooter. So it's practically impossible to get away from them. They have a clear division. We don't deal with petty stuff, but a bank robbery is really a serious crime. These are armed people. These are people who have already crossed the line. This is a very serious antisocial act. It's a very serious antisocial act. Just give them an inch. They're like horsemen.
Ура! Можно пострелять! Ковбой, вперед!
Dozens of movies about drug cartels have indeed made Colombia popular, but its image is now forever tied to drugs, which frustrates Colombians.
Personally, it doesn't bother me at all, but still, I wasn't born here. And that's why it doesn't bother me that someone wants to spit on my homeland, right?
Does that really annoy them?
That really annoys them, yeah? Well, anyone would feel hurt when people say that all you have here is drugs. It's like if someone started telling me that Russia, that's just external aggression, it's just a toilet in the village, you know, a hole in the ground and stuff. No, guys, it's definitely not just that.
Москва, например. Да, она за пояс заткнет очень многие европейские столицы по напичканности вообще технологиями.
Let Colombians be upset, but drugs have really infiltrated everywhere here.
So we have this area. In Medellin, it's called Barrio Antioquia. It's a supermarket of all banned substances. You can't do just a couple of things there. You absolutely cannot rob or steal from anyone there. They immediately said, kill the rats, down to the 7th generation, wipe out the family. We have a store here and nothing else. We shouldn't scare off the clients.
Well, and filming is definitely not allowed.
And filming is not allowed. Here, in the same bar in Antioquia, they don't stand around with their guns. Because the police still patrol the area. Of course, without any particular fanaticism, of course, the boss of the police station gets good kickbacks.
Given that the drugs are produced here in Colombia, people are poisoned with very dirty substances.
My very first shock, I thought, well, in the city of Pablo Escobar Medellin, well, you can definitely buy the purest product right on the street for a cheap price. Guys, unfortunately, that's not the case, because people are poor and the mafia wants more profit. They take a good product and mix it one-to-one with something else, like bold stuff or caffeine pills from the pharmacy that cost next to nothing. And they sell it, of course, very cheaply, but there's no quality at all. In Santa Marta, you came for a short time but got stuck right here. What got to you so much?
Не-не-не, здесь совсем другой интерес.
Другая зависимость.
Да, другая зависимость, вот точно. Дайверская лихорадка.
Andre got into diving and took it up professionally.
A trabajar, no, a bucear.
Actually, I've wanted to try the underwater world for a long time, and on the very first day my ears hurt. I didn't like the physical sensations, that it's wet, cold, and the water is pressing down. The next day I wake up with the idea that I want to see again, a turtle under the water, corals, some fish. I work at this dive center as a diving instructor's assistant, and this is the car. We attach this trailer to it, carefully load a bunch of tanks with air, gear, and necessary equipment, and proceed towards the dock.
Oh, bien. Super bien, super bien. Ну вот.
This is what the dive center's office looks like. Clients come here, buy some underwater tour, and we take them out there.
Let's return to Barranquilla. The outskirts of a million-resident Colombian city look like this. The streets are filled with motorcycles. They tried to set aside a lane for buses here, but the idea failed. Secondary streets without asphalt. And this is my hotel. The reception is behind bars, and with the keys they give out all the remote controls, which you will have to return. There is a huge motorcycle, parked in the corridor at the entrance to the rooms. Very convenient. There are 2 outlets in the room and both are at a high level. The neighboring street is also unpaved. People travel on horses and carry goods on bicycles. But the food is great, delicious, and cheap. And this is the nightlife of the metropolis. Mountains of garbage and endless streams of traffic. Tuk-tuks serve the role of taxis. I stood by the puddle and waited for a ride. A driver appears instantly without any apps. My favorite place here is the fruit shop. All the exotic fruits are about 50 cents per kilogram. Bananas are practically free. So for $3 I got a bag. And 5 types of fruits that I've never tried before. $3. What kind of monster is this, guys? How am I even going to eat all of this? Did you get greedy? It's already deep into the night when I jumped out of bed in fear. They sell regular mangoes so aggressively. That's a lot, but the war has started. I have a lot of photos and stories saved from Colombia on my Instagram. That's where I post interesting moments from all my other trips. Follow me. On Instagram, I'm Vova Karmanov.
In Colombia, it's good to live for those who already have money. And the wages here are extremely low. This is a poor narco-banana republic still to this day. There's massive corruption. Despite all its potential, Colombia is just a huge agricultural territory. Unfortunately, all of this, it's all messed up. The authorities just steal. There's mafia everywhere. And the salaries in Medellin, which is the second most commercially successful city after the capital, are rich. $300 a month. Back in Moscow, I was in trade. I had a travel agency. In general, all these stories about trafficking and drugs, it's not even so much about the money, but I just wanted to get my adrenaline pumping to play this game. Yeah, if someone had told me 10 years ago that I would be there with a kilogram of cocaine, I would say, dude, you probably did a kilogram of cocaine yourself to be talking such nonsense.
A guy came up asking for money, but he spoke in English and he didn't even switch to Spanish.
That's a rarity, I understand. And most likely, as I see it, he's not even Colombian. He's probably a refugee from Venezuela. Well, I've been living here for a while, so I've learned to tell them apart a bit by their appearance. So yeah, that's it. Venezuelans are so forced to change their lives that, yeah, they leave for another country and beg for coins from foreigners, but in English, in the House Museum of Escobar. How much do you earn? Guides earn about $2,000 a month. That's a huge amount of money by Medellin standards. For reference, I want to say that I really feel sorry for the unfortunate Colombians. They have to work 6 days a week for a whole month just to earn 300 American dollars. As a result, those who work in food delivery, they earn somewhere $30 a day. That is, it can also pull up to 1,000, which Colombians tell Russia very generally. I think that's a common trait. People from all Latin countries love Russia. They love our rich and fascinating history as well as our culture and traditions. I'm just hanging out with some guys at a bar. So we're not in a library, we're in a bar, we're drinking beer. They find out I'm from Russia and they get interested.
А братьев Карамазовых тычет. Я такой, что ты сейчас сказал? А на дне? А Чехова «Вишневый сад». Я перечитал вообще всю классику нашей российской литературы.
So that, God forbid, I don't end up in a situation where they say to me, how could you not know? They love it, yes, they love our history. That's a fact. I was surprised at how deeply they know it. So they don't just love us from the TV, like what's being shown right now. No, they really know their stuff.
In the Soviet Union, Lenin Square was everywhere. Here we have Bolivar Square.
Yeah, you know, guys, and it's not for nothing. You know, Simon Bolivar, a Venezuelan. He was born in Caracas. He died, by the way, here in Santa Marta 170 years ago. His remains were located here, in the Cathedral of Santa Marta. But in the end, the Venezuelans proved their rights to these remains, and they were moved to Caracas, to his homeland. He did a lot. He truly fought for liberation from Spanish oppression. And he liberated what was once called Gran Colombia. It's just a huge, vast, and expansive territory that is now divided into a large number of countries in the world. This includes Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. And if I'm not mistaken, Peru with Brazil, even.
The struggle against the Spaniards was for a long time a national idea of Colombia. But still, they are grateful for a lot.
Yes, conquering other lands is a bit immoral and stealing all the gold from there, but they brought it here. Technologies. If you look at the British, just take a look at the railway system in India. Who built all of it for them? The British.
Colombia is wonderful and doesn't let go, both in a figurative and a literal sense, because just taking off and flying away from here isn't that easy. This is me during a search, and here on the X-ray, I wish they would at least let me take a picture of my lungs with me. I've never seen anything like this in any airport. First of all, after the baggage is screened, each person is checked by a special dog. And especially suspicious ones, like me. They are taken for additional inspection, where they check absolutely everything. You take out all your things and they feel every inch, even of each of your t-shirts. And then they take you for an X-ray. So, if I had hidden something inside me and tried to get through like that, they would have found it here. There are still many stages of checks ahead. They are calling some passengers right from the waiting area. Looks like they found something in the luggage. At the loading area, where it's easy to slip in contraband, the staff take turns searching each other. In fact, each one checks the other. Baggage carts arrive under lock and key, and right before loading, each bag is checked once again. Nevertheless, I didn't bring any special souvenirs with me and flew away with the thought that I would definitely come back. To not miss new episodes, subscribe to my YouTube and Instagram. It's me everywhere, Vova Karmanov. Bye.